Okay, mostly back. Explain how the concept of PED, price elasticity of demand, can be used to estimate the possible effects of rising salaries of preschool teachers on the revenue of preschools in Singapore, and comment on whether raising salaries can be justified. Okay, so there are two parts, explain and comment. We'll do explain first, then comment, all right? So explain how PED can be used to estimate the effects of rising salaries of preschool teachers on the revenue of preschools in Singapore. So there's a higher salary for teachers. How can that affect the revenue of the preschools? Okay, using the PED concept. All right, so we will look at the extract to see if there's anything. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to start scanning the extract because you cannot answer on yourself. Even if you can, you have to see if there's any information to use first. Okay, so let's say we look at extract 1. Extract 1 says that to cope with this rising need of preschool services because of dual income families, the father and the mother both working, so more grandparents are also working, so the government has been expanding the number of preschool places. The preschool fees continue to rise. Then we have about 330 childcare centers raising their fees. From time to time, they adjust their fees to keep up with the rising operational cost. It is estimated by 2020, 3,000 more teachers needed to be in place. There's about 18% increase in the current number of 17,000 teachers. So despite recruitment drives for the sector, to make it more attractive, it's still hard to recruit, retain preschool teachers. And there are now calls for salaries of the preschool teachers to be raised to address the challenges. Okay, so a bit here, but not much. Then we look at extract 2, right? So extract 2, first paragraph, it talks about the importance of preschool education, then helping them to develop the literacy, numeracy skills. Second paragraph says that the education also benefits society, helping them to move towards early academic standards. Okay, then third paragraph talks about inequality. In Singapore's case, they talk about government spending more on childhood education and including plan to increase the number of preschools. Right, so I'm just scanning through, Okay, there is probably nothing to use. Okay, so we are reading to make sure that there is something or there's nothing, right? Cannot just answer everything ourselves. Okay, so there is nothing to use, then we use our own learning. Okay, all right. So again, come back to part D. Explain how PED can be used to estimate the possible effects of rising salaries of preschool teachers on the revenue of preschools in Singapore. So actually, if you look at the concepts, right, you can pair up together. It is something that we have already explained just now. Okay, so you look at PED and you look at the word revenue. Okay, if you look at the question, so you highlight PED and revenue. If you combine together, you can actually explain yourself already. Okay, seems doable. Seems doable. One more time, So we're going to underline or highlight PED and also the revenue. So if you are going to match PED and revenue together, is what we went through just now, right? So are we able to answer this part? Exam's coming in November, right? Just now I was asking. Exam. I don't know the date, okay? I don't know. Because I think you guys were telling me there's exam in November, right? You guys were saying yesterday. So then I went to check. Then you say, oh, I have to set the paper, then I have to do the marking and so on. Okay, so yeah, probably will make it difficult. So let's say pretend that you have gone through the topic now and this is your exam, right? Let's say just this question. So this is part D, right? So how are we going to do? What are we going to use in the answer? So PD, then revenue, right? So what do we need to include in the answer? Definition, no need, right? Because you already know just now. So I'm not going to ask you a definition. But after you define, then what are you going to do next? Explain about factors. Okay, factors that will cause or that will determine the factors that will determine the PD value. Okay, so we need to know the PD value, right? Because you have to choose which one to use. This one you don't need to draw. Technically, they didn't ask for diagram, but if you draw, it's easier to explain. Okay, so we're going to draw later. We will have to choose, is it price elastic or price inelastic, right? Then you can explain. Okay, so is it price elastic or price inelastic? Anything that can tell us the answer. So for preschool, based on our assumption, based on any reasons inside, is it a price elastic product or is it a price inelastic product? Inelastic. Okay, so inelastic, any reasons? Okay, possible. So the best will be from the extract. The next best is we give our own reason. Okay, but it must really be so sure that there's nothing inside, then we give our own. Okay, so could there be anything from extract 1 to use? So we say that it's price inelastic. That means even if it's very expensive, people still have to go preschool, right? Any reason for that? Okay. Extract 1, paragraph 1. Okay, help out a lot. So extract 1, paragraph 1. Any reason? That means, no, that one means they open up more places. They open up more. Income increase, maybe. So the reason why you must send to the preschool. If you don't send, then it's like so troublesome. It's like there's no other choice. Okay? Because, okay, so dual income and grandparents working, right? Grandparents are usually like the backup. Or not backup lah. They're usually the ones taking care. Right? But now grandparents also go and work. So the parents are working, the grandparents also working. Right? Then how? So you go for preschool. Okay, no other choice, right? Cannot just, okay, bye-bye, then see you at night. Right? And then the baby is just lying there. Cannot, right? So you have to send somewhere. Okay, so this means that there are less or fewer substitutes to preschool. So the demand is more price inelastic. Then after that, we talk about there's a rising salaries of preschool teachers. Okay, so we go back to the question. So now we have established the PD value. We have given the reason why it's price inelastic. Now we need to shift some curve. Okay, because based on what we had just now, right? So one side will be adjusting the slope, one side will be shifting the curve. So which curve are we shifting? Supply or demand? Supply, right? Because we talk about PD already, so we shift supply curve. Rising salaries of preschool teachers. Would it cause the supply curve to shift left, shift right? Okay, so what's the relationship first? So preschool teachers and preschools. What's the relationship? The teachers, FOP, right? So the teachers are the factor of production. So with a higher salary, that means for the preschool, think of the preschool as a firm, right? The firm will face higher cost. Okay, so they have higher cost. That means lower profits. The supply will decrease or increase. Decrease, right? Okay, supply curve is going to shift left. Okay, so almost done. Supply shifts left with price inelastic. So the revenue is higher or lower now? Higher now? Lower now? Price inelastic. Supply curve shifts left. Total revenue will increase or decrease? Increase, decrease. Just now we draw somewhere there. Increase, 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 right? So the revenue is going higher. So this one is the same diagram, but because it's the same diagram as demand supply, they will ask you demand supply, elasticity all together. Okay? So that's why it's 8 marks. Right? So whatever we discussed just now is going to be worth about 6 marks out of 8 marks. Okay, then the last 2 marks will be given for the commenting portion. Okay, because there are 2 parts, right? So, okay, we're going to do the first portion first. Okay, so we started with defining PED, right? This one you already know, so nothing, huh? Then after that, we come on to explain about the PD value, okay, until here, right? So we say that the demand is probably price inelastic. Then we have the PD value here. Then we have to give the reason. Okay, so the value, the explanation, all together. So besides that, we also need to look at this as well. So extract 1 mention, right? So we keep saying that you need to show this thing called the case study skill. So it's not just reading and then using the information. It's also having to very obviously state that, okay, I took this from extract 1. Okay, so it's not just anyhow give a reason. So we took this from extract 1. We even copied something there so that we can use it to explain. Okay, so more and more grandparents and families all working, right? So therefore, this means there is a lack of choice if you don't want to go for preschool. Okay, you can still hire a helper. You can put at some relative's house. right? But these options may not be available. So preschools will be popular, and therefore, because of this, it makes the demand for preschool more price inelastic. Okay? All right, so this will be the first part, probably 2 marks. 1 mark? two, probably 2. 2 marks. Okay, next portion, then we'll talk about, okay, the rising salary. Okay, all done, huh? Mostly done, huh? So, first portion, we talk about the PD value, right? Explain why, how like this. Then next part here, it's to do with demand supply. Okay, so if you remember the paragraph, we need a few things, right? Okay, then what should we have inside? What are the 4 steps? The diagram we'll draw later. So this paragraph, right, we want to check whether we have included everything. So what are the 4 steps? State the reason, explain, change. Okay, all right. So first thing we need to state the trigger, right? So in terms of the trigger, in terms of the reason, which one? Which one is the trigger? So what happened here? Okay, this one. All right. This one here is the trigger. This is what happened, right? Rising salary. Then after that, we begin to explain. So explanation, we say that they face higher cost, lower profitability, and pass on the cost to consumers, right? So this is the explanation. Then, in order to make it even clearer, we also mention that the teachers are the factors of production. So the yellow one is the reason, the green one is the explanation. So we explain. Then after that, you say that the supply drops. So the supply of this service decreases. So the supply decreases, and the last part, the supply curve is going to leftwards. Okay, you copy it, right? So the last part, don't need to read, huh? So just showing you the colors. So first step, second step, then third step, fourth step. Okay, so this will be the second portion. Then after that, we will combine together. Service, which one? This one drops. Less profits, so we sell less. So let's say I sell handphone, right? If I make less profits, I will sell less handphone. Okay. All right. So, okay, you can draw first. You can also explain first. Okay, up to you, right? As long as we have this. Okay, draw there. Okay, I draw both sides, all right? I draw both sides. So here, we're going to draw next. So next one, we'll draw in the diagram. Okay, so you have the diagram. So price inelastic. Okay, then to make it even neater, you can actually label the diagram. So you just put here market for preschool services. Okay, then we underline. So we label the diagram. Okay, mostly done, huh? So we explain this. Okay, so we drew the diagram first, right? So this and that side. So we drew the diagram. Then this portion will be explaining the diagram. Okay, so we first start saying that supply curve shifts left. So S0 to S1. Then the market price will rise to P1. Okay, so what happens here is the equilibrium price has gone up to P1. So O to the new equilibrium point. Okay, so that's the change in price. Then with the change in price, right, this is something new. We say that there is a less than proportionate fall in the quantity demanded. So first of all, earlier on, we didn't use all these big words, right? Just say small change in quantity, big change in quantity, right? That one for understanding, but we cannot write like that in the exam. Okay, so please don't say big change, small change, a lot of change, that kind, cannot. All right, so the specific term is this. Okay, because in the formula, we are using percentage, right? So here, less than proportionate fall. That means it's a smaller percentage change in the quantity. Okay, this have to remember, huh? So don't write a bigger change, a smaller change, anything like that. All right. Then also we say that it is quantity demanded. All right, it is a quantity demanded change. So looking at the diagram, right, you can see that along the demand curve, there was no shift, right? Along the demand curve, there's no shift, but you have 2 points to choose, or there are 2 points that are present. So we go from the old equilibrium to the new equilibrium. This is caused by the shift in the supply curve, but along the demand curve, you see a movement from O point to the new point. Alright? So supply shifting causing the movement along the demand curve. Okay? That's why we say that there is a change in the quantity demanded. Alright? So that is the explanation. Then after that, this is when you have to talk about changes in total revenue. Okay, if you're just explaining PED, then this portion will be enough. Alright, but because they asked for revenue change, so we go on. So first part is we have labeled A and C in the diagram. Right, we have labeled. Then just now as well, we were saying A is bigger, C is bigger, whatever. Then total revenue is more or less. Right, just now we went through before the break. So now to put it into writing, again, you cannot just say A is bigger than C, so revenue increase, full stop. Then very confusing. What is A, what is C? So you have to explain also. So in this case, we say that A is the rise in total revenue from the increase in price. So we had B and C at first, right? Now it becomes A and B. So what is this A here? A is what we get when we increase the price. Okay, so every unit we sell higher price, we earn more. That will give us area A. Okay, every unit we sell at higher price, we earn more because we charge higher. This will give us area A. So that is the increase in total revenue. Then it is more, so we say outweighs, so it is more than the fall in revenue from the fall in quantity demanded. So because we sell less, not Q0, but only Q1, we will lose area C. Okay? So we will lose C. C means I sell less, I earn less. Alright? So because A is bigger than C, the overall revenue is going to increase. Alright, so this part, please remember, okay? Please remember, huh? It may come out for exam. Okay, from now on, everything can come out for exam, huh? Because, I mean, on the one setting, right? So we'll choose all the difficult questions. Okay, so please write like this. Please don't just say A is bigger, C is bigger, so revenue increase, decrease. Then it doesn't make sense. Okay, so you have to explain what the areas mean. Then if you draw as well, then it'll be clearer. But if the question is just 4 marks and you are not drawing, then what happens is you will just remove this part. Okay, so if the question doesn't need you to draw and you didn't draw but still need to talk about revenue change, then in your mind you have to know all this. So you simply just say the rise blah 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 outweighs the fall blah blah blah, full stop. Right, this is the explanation. Okay, but if you draw, then just include area C, area A. Okay, all right. So this would be worth the 6 marks. Last portion. Okay, last portion, we're finishing this question. So the last portion asks us to comment, part D, okay, part D. Asks us to comment on whether raising salaries can be justified. So it's not about this anymore, but they say that now we are going to increase the salaries of the teachers. Does it make sense? Is it a good decision? Is it not a good decision? Okay, just one-sided, right? Because it's just comment. Okay, yes or no. Why yes or why no? Okay, again, cannot just answer yourself. Okay, cannot say I like preschool, so no. Okay, go on to extract 1 or extract 2, then you find some reasons to say that it is justified. Alright, so every time you look for reasons, you have to go for the extract. Okay, so we don't think first, we look first. Any reasons that say that it is necessary, it is needed, it is good to increase their salaries, or it makes sense to increase their salaries. Anything? Okay, help a lot. Okay, we help a lot again. Paragraph 3. Anything that says that yes, it makes sense or it doesn't make sense to increase the teachers' salaries. Paragraph 3, extract 1. So we can say that there are recruitment drives. They need to make it more attractive so that you can get more teachers. Okay? Or you can say that it is hard to recruit and retain teachers, so you need to increase their salaries. So see which one you want to use. Okay, this one will be much shorter. Okay, no issues. Okay, going to try part B, which should be very easy to you now. So it's worth 6 marks. Probably we should use about just 10 minutes to do. Okay, read the question, find the thing, write out, check your answers, all within 10 minutes. Okay? 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It's about 3 hours for 80 marks. So roughly 1 to 2. So 6 marks, about 12 to 13, 14 minutes. Okay, we try B, huh? So B should be easy, okay? Because we've done like 3-4 times already. Extract 1 states that to cope with the rising need of preschool services due to the prevalence of dual income families and more grandparents working, the Singapore government has been expanding the number of government-supported preschool places. All right. Using demand-supply diagram, explain the impact of these changes on the market for preschool education. All right. So looking at this, how many marks for diagram? 1 mark. How many factors to have? 2. Right. See, now you know already. Okay. So 1 mark for diagram, 2 factors. Then after drawing, do we need to explain anything? Yes, right? So the mark for the diagram as well. So roughly 1 mark, 2 mark, 2 mark, 1 mark. Okay, 1 for diagram, 2 for each factor, 1 for explanation of the factor of the diagram. All right. So that will be the whole thing. Okay. Then okay, if you want, you can read the extract. It is paragraph 1. Okay. Paragraph 1 has a bit more info. All right. So extract 1, paragraph 1. So same thing, to cope with the rising need due to dual income families, more grandparents working, government has been expanding the number of the preschool places. Despite its efforts, preschool fees continue to increase. Okay? All right. So this is the whole paragraph. Okay, so we want to look at how these factors affect the market for preschool education. So based on this question, right, explain the impact, blah, 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 for preschool education. What do we need to write for the answer? What are we looking for? So demand supply is just explaining what happened, right? Then when do we stop? Like for this question here, right, if you look at the first part, explain how PED can affect the revenue of preschools, correct? So we must know where to stop because you cannot write the whole chapter here. So how much to write? So just now what we did was we explained about PED value, then we talk about the shifting, then we draw diagram and we stop when we talk about revenue. So the question is asking until revenue. So then for this question, right, when do we stop? Can I just explain the 2 factors, then finish? Or what else must we also include? Okay, change in price and quantity, right? How do we know? Market. Okay, easy already, right? Everything makes sense. Okay, so probably 1 demand, 1 supply. What is the supply? What is the demand factor? Based on this, okay? Whatever they give us. So how? So demand increasing, decreasing, supply increasing or decreasing? Okay, demand first, all right? Demand for preschool education, is it higher or lower? Higher, because, okay, so roughly lah, because a bit soft. Okay, so you guys talking about the parents working, right? And also grandparents working. So no one is there to help out, so the demand increases. Okay, so demand increases for preschool, that's one. Then supply higher or lower? Higher, because, okay, all right. So government has been expanding. Okay, so like this, we get about 4 marks already. Okay, let's explain. Okay, mostly done, huh? All right, so you already know the answer. We already went through, right? And this one quite straightforward. So we're just checking the answer. Okay, so at this stage, this one you're more familiar. So we're just checking. Make sure you have the 4 steps. Okay, so just to check through, huh? So here we mentioned this is the reason, right? Then we start to explain. So even if it's very obvious, you still have to explain something. Okay, so don't just leave it blank. All right. This one, because of this, so more people not available to take care of the children, so they have to send to the preschools, right? Explain. So the demand increases, the demand curve shifts rightwards, right? So 4 steps. Next one, the government had been expanding the number of the preschool places. Now this one quite straightforward, right? A bit common sense. Don't need to explain, you would know. But we still have to say something. You may rephrase, you may explain it in your own way, right? It could be that they build more schools, it could be that they hire more teachers, right, etc. So have to say something. Okay, so you don't just say, oh, this one very straightforward, right? Don't need to explain. Then you just go and say supply increase. Then we'll lose the mark for this part. Okay, so write something, right? It may be worth 1 mark. So then after that, supply curve shifts rightwards. Okay, so all this done, huh? Now, as we discussed just now as well, right, for this question, because they asked us to talk about the impact on the market for preschool education. So it's market, that means price and quantity. Both we have to explain, P and Q. Okay, so we have two changes here. That means individually they are going to have their own effects, right? Demand curve shifts right. That means for this, the price is going to, I just add in a side note, okay? So with a higher demand increases, so the price is going to be higher, lower? Okay, higher, then quantity, higher. Okay. Then for this one, we have higher supply, so the price will lower, higher. So more schools, it should be cheaper or more expensive? Cheaper. Okay, so lower price, then quantity, more, higher. Okay, so this one is our own thinking, all right? So you don't have to write in the answer. This is just for planning. Okay, because you have to combine together, right? So the common thing is quantity higher and quantity higher. Okay, then what about the price? Should it be higher overall or lower overall? Sorry. Yes, that's why we read the extract, right? Okay, go back to extract 1, paragraph 1. Okay, so you go to extract 1, paragraph 1, the last line. Despite its efforts, preschool fees continue to increase. So we have the outcome already, right? Don't need to guess. So here it says that the price overall is going to fall, correct? So slow, it should be like instant. No, response must be immediate, cannot delay. Okay, so the fees are rising, right? So this will be the main effect. All right, so overall prices should be higher, right? Because the question said so, the extract said so. So that means when we draw, the demand curve should shift less. No, cannot delay, okay? Cannot delay. 10 seconds also too long. Okay, so we're going to draw the demand curve shifting right by a larger extent. Okay, so let's draw. So here, quantity and price, then supply and demand. Okay, so start with your equilibrium first. Don't insert all the curve, all right? Otherwise, it's going to get very confusing. Okay, same. I just draw both sides because later cannot see. I do something wrong, huh? Why? What happened? I haven't shift yet. Haven't shift yet. This is the basic. No shifting yet. Okay? Oh, normal. This one no elasticity. This one only demand supply. So no need to adjust the curve. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so demand shift more, right? Okay, so demand shift more, then supply shifts less. S1. So S1, D1, then we find the new equilibrium point and we label. Okay, so this one more, and this one less. Okay, so we shifted demand curve by a bigger gap. Supply shifted right, but by a smaller gap. Okay, remember the arrows, then the labels all must be there. All right, especially if they ask for diagram, anything missing, they will not give the 1 mark. Okay, so either you get 1 mark or 0 for diagram, right? There's no 0.75 because you miss out the labels, cannot. Okay, 0 or 1, huh? So everything must be there, the arrows, the labels. Then we are going to explain the adjustment process, which you already did so many times. So what else to add to the diagram? Okay, the dotted line, right? Okay, so we look at P1, then we extend the dotted line to the right side. Correct? So where do we look? P what? P0, okay, not P1, huh? So we look at P0, then we extend the dotted line all the way to the last curve. Then we touch demand curve here, come down QD. Okay? Then we touch QS. Okay, S1, we get QS. So then in this case, we have a surplus. Correct? This is a shortage. Because you know already, huh? So I can keep asking all this. Right, first lesson, nothing to ask, so cannot test. Quantity demanded more than quantity supplied, right? Not enough, shortage. Okay, what else do we need? Some little things. Mostly done already, but what else do we need? So we're showing the direction of the price change. So from P0 going to P1, right? But it's not immediately. So how? So what do we need to draw also? QD and QS. Shortage. Anything? Nothing. Okay. So we look for S1 and D1, then we insert the arrow as well. Okay, look for your S1 and D1, then insert the arrow. So we are going to adjust towards the new equilibrium point. Okay, so help me, huh? We want to explain the adjustment process, the last mark. What to start with, what to write. Okay, so the two shifts first. So supply curve, how to continue? So we talk about the shift, then after this, okay. So X. So quantity demanded and quantity supplied, right? So the price, at this current price, both quantities have now changed. I need your help to continue. Very difficult to get 1 mark. So how from here? After this? Okay, shortage first. Alright, so since 然后 causes and outward about half done already. Okay, then okay, which begins nice. Okay, done. Everything done. 1 mark. Okay, if you don't have time in the exam, then just don't write this. Right, not worth 1 mark. But because we are aiming for distinction, right? We are aiming for A, right? Nothing below A. So every mark counts. So we will try our best because the later questions will be more difficult. This one is still easier, right? You see, it's only 6 marks. If you look at the last one, it's 12 marks. 12 marks, you need to write 2-3 pages. Harder to score. So this one is still easier. So you get 6 marks here, then maybe you just get half for part G.